Hi, my name is Shamika, and I will be the interviewer for the first portion of this recording. And we're going into the interview process now. So, hi, my name is Shamika. I'd like to welcome you to Preferred Family Healthcare today. May I get your name?
My name is Lisa. Lisa.
Well, it's nice to meet you today, Lisa. It's nice to meet you today. How are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm okay.
Okay, it's good to hear that you're doing good. It's good to hear that. All right, so I want to start off by discussing what we're going to be doing today and providing a little information about myself, my experiences, my background. We're going to talk a little bit about confidentiality. I know that at the beginning of the process, you may have been screened in, and so you may know a little bit about confidentiality, about kind of want to go in depth into what we're going to be discussing today. And then also talking about what the interview will encompass as well. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. All right. So, again, my name is Shamika Piggy. I am a substance abuse counselor here at Preferred Family Healthcare. I have been a substance abuse counselor and a program coordinator here for 4 years. And what we do here is we work with adolescents who are struggling with substance abuse, mental health issues, trauma. We do a gamut of sorts. But specifically, what I do is I provide substance abuse care and support and counseling through treatment planning, goal setting, just working through those goals, processing through the issues, and we continue to work through those things until maybe transition and starting getting someone prepared to do the program. So today I will be your interviewer. I have a significant experience in interviewing as well. I've had clinical interview skills for up to 7 years now. So I've been clinical interviewing for a good portion of my career. And I've done it here as a counselor for family health care. And I've also done it at another agency as well as intake coordinator. So if you could take a look a little bit around the room, you can see my credentials from the Missouri Credentialing Board. I am certified as an associate counselor. That credential has been with me for up to 4 years now, 4 years this summer, and is continually updated. I renew it every year. I take CEUs for this to maintain relevance with the credential, attend conferences associated with the credential. So pretty much everything is up to date. You can see degrees on the wall. So, and that's in everyone's office with your clinical team. When you get assigned, you'll be able to see some of their credentials as well. You can ask about those at any time. Is that understandable?
Yes, that's a lot.
I'm sorry. I'll try to dial it back. If you're confused at any time, just let me know.
Did you used to use drugs?
Actually, we as an agency don't talk about our personal lives or personal past experiences. We tend to stick to the book of allowing you to explore your own issues, your own problems, or things that you're struggling with in your life, as it doesn't really benefit you in this situation to know my personal experiences. But I do work extensively with substance abuse clients, specifically adolescents. As you are an adolescent and this is what you're coming into the program for, I do provide therapy and counseling and a gamut of therapy techniques in session. And I've been really experienced in this field for quite a long time. So I understand that your situation may be very unique to you, but it's not unlike a situation that we've seen here before. So you're not working with anyone who is brand new out of the field. So.
Well, is it true that most people that work with substance abusers used to be substance abusers?
It may be true, but I really want to focus us back into the interview. I really don't want to, use up too much of your time today, as you're going to be going through a lot of assessments. You're going to be working with your team to figure out some of your goals today, talking with your parents about options for treatment, what level of care you're going to be coming into today. So I really want to stay focused on the topic. If you have any other questions, I'll be happy to answer them at the end of our session. Your treatment team will love to answer any questions that you pose of significance. They're very much here for your support. So I kind of want to get back into the interviewing process here. I want to tell you a little bit about the interview. The interview will only lasts about 15 to 20 minutes. We're just really going to determine what level of care you're going to come into today. Our program specializes in about two different levels of care, and that's inpatient and outpatient. Inpatient is for more severity cases where we're seeing chronic substance. It's a deterioration in the lifestyle. It's an overall problematic experience for the client and for the client's parents, friends, and other supportive loved ones. And then we're going to talk about outpatient treatment services as a possible option as well, which is more for the client who is struggling with mild substance use or just has recently been introduced with substance use as a problematic feature in their lives, and talk about some levels of care that are going to help them in the community, such as NA, AA, and other supportive groups. So with that being said, that's pretty much what the interview process is going to look like. I'm going to be taking some notes. Um, and I also want to follow up a little bit before we get started into the meat and potatoes of all of this, into confidentiality. I know in the screening process, they probably told you a little bit about it, but I really want to go in depth a little bit more so that you have a better understanding of the process. As you know, we are covered by HIPAA, and HIPAA is just such a long acronym, but it's basically a or a law that's been put into effect to protect your health information to the best of an agency's ability, whether that's electronic files, whether it's chart files, anything that's communicated over email. All of those things are falling under HIPAA law. However, there are some limitations, and some of these limitations are strictly as it concerns the welfare of others and for yourself as well. So some limits here that we're going to be talking about today is concerning, whether or not you have an idea possibly to, harm yourself or harm someone else. In that case, we would have to alert the authorities and your parents concerning HI, which is like any homicidal ideations, any ideas or attempts to want to harm someone else. We have a duty to warn policy. We will warn the individual of a possible harm that may come to them. So in that sense, we can't protect your privacy. Protecting your privacy is a same thing with SI. If you're struggling with self-harm, we definitely have to alert your parents and then go into seeking further care for you, whether that be psychiatric or whether it be upper level care, just for protection's sake. And with that being said, if there was ever an issue where a crime was committed against you, such as verbal or physical abuse or sexual abuse, that too would be something that we'd have to hotline and get the authorities involved in as well. In addition, we also, as a policy of PFH here at Preferred Family Healthcare, we also are very strict on any vandalism or any crime that's been committed on our campus, as that is something that is also not a privacy protected order, where we do have the right to call authorities if there's been a crime occurring on our campus and we feel the need to press charges or pull out the authorities for the sake of other clients here. So that's pretty much everything, just in a nutshell. My role with you today is pertinent information as to why you've come into treatment, why now, what is happening in your life. So do you have any questions on my role, the interview, confidentiality? Do you have any questions regarding any credentials that I may have? At this time, I would love to answer any.
Well, not really, except if I had any suicidal or homicidal thoughts, I know not to share it with you because of privacy.
Well, what we find here is that clients tend to share those experiences with us because they're seeking help and they understand that there are people who can help them. And it's also about this rapport building with your team. With your team, you'll be more open to confidences that you probably wouldn't want to talk to an interviewer about on your first day. But with your team, there's a rapport building and a trust there. That maybe you will be willing to share those experiences. And we also are just a positive, safe space. Nothing that you say will be held against you personally. We're not going to ever throw this back up in your face that you had a situation occur. So if you are feeling suicidal or homicidal, you can come to someone with confidences, and we're going to do all we can to get you the help that you need.
I don't want my parents to know anything we talk about.
And that's a good question. I'm glad you brought that up. A lot of clients feel that way coming in here, like, oh, my parents, I don't want them to know. And unfortunately, there are some limits to that as well. As a minor in the state of Missouri, your parents do have the right to protected information that you share here. And that's another, kind of an amendment here with the confidentiality issue, is that they are paying for the services. They're your guardians. They do have right to that information. However, there's a lot of flexibility here. We can set up a situation with your parents, and as long as they're agreeing to it, they can consent to the process. We can set up a special arrangement with your parents that in order for you to be successful here and to not have any emotions hindered or have anything us, that we would like to create a more open environment for you. And as long as they consent to it, we can share limited information with them. And what I find is a lot of parents are willing to do that because they know that their kids need the help. They're willing to take all the services that are possible, and they don't want to hinder any process in the therapeutic process and any progress as well concerning treatment. So I've seen a lot of parents sign the contract and say, just as long as my kid is getting the help, not every single thing needs to be shared. However, I do press upon the clients to understand that things that concern their health and their well-being will be shared with their parents, as they are your guardians and they're your loved ones and they want the best for you. Any other questions you have before we continue with the rest of the intake?
No.
So, Lisa, tell me a little bit as to why we're here today. What's
Well,
going on?
my parents found out I've been using drugs, and they made me come here. This is not by my choice.
I understand. Just elaborate a little bit more for me. Tell me, where did all this come from?
They found a bag of cocaine in my drawer a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I was kind of stuck. I couldn't even lie about it. I couldn't say it was somebody else's. I think they expected it because of I kind of sneak out at night. I've been busted for that. So they decided to search my room, and they found it.
Mm-hmm.
And I really don't want to share anything else with them. They know that I use, and they don't need to know all my business.
I understand. I'm picking up on that you feel a little bit violated by them going into your room and searching through your things instead of coming to you directly about their concerns. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. They always do that. They always go. They call my school, find out. Okay, I've been caught ditching a couple times, but they call and ask like if I'm at school. I mean, I'm close to 18. I'm 16 years old. It's like they don't need to do that, but they can do in a few years. But I mean, I can't wait to get out. I can't wait to get out of their house. Yeah, but going through my stuff.
Mm-hmm. So they're going through your things.
Yeah, that's how they found it. If they wouldn't have been snooping, I would have never been caught.
Mm-hmm. So upon just the mistrust that you're experiencing with your parents is the lack of directness with you, and it's also feeling as if you're becoming mature enough to handle your own situation, handle anything that comes your way when it concerns your personal use of drugs or anything else. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you feel that there's a lack of trust between you and your parents?
Yeah, probably so. Because I don't like them to know my business. So if I gotta lie or sneak, I do. They don't need to know everything.
Mm-hmm. Is there something else going on that makes the use more prevalent? Did you start using around a time where there was major stressors in your life, or you were experiencing high anxiety, or something else was going on? Do you recall anything of that nature?
Well, I was at a party and somebody had some and I tried it and I liked it. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that was your first time using drugs?
Yeah, that was about, that was a little over a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
About a little over a year ago. Yeah.
Do you feel that since that situation that your drug use has increased, has it decreased? What has gone on since that initial use of your first experience with drugs?
Oh, definitely increased.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't tell my parents that.
Well, I think one of the things we're going to do is discuss options first. This is just an interview so we can discuss treatment options. At this point, I feel as if your parents know a little bit more than what some parents come in knowing, considering that they did find drugs. But this is just an experience, an interview experience to figure out what level of care that we're going to put you in. And so I want you to be upfront with me and completely open so that we can decide what is going to be best for your treatment and your level of care.
I don't want to
I
do
don't want you to feel restricted in any way.
I don't want to do inpatient. That's not an option for me.
Hmm.
I don't
How do
want
you,
to be locked up.
I understand there's a lot of fear there when it comes to living with strangers for the first time or kids who are struggling similarly to you. Tell me, what are some of your fears with inpatient?
I want to be at home. I want to go to school. I don't want to be away for what 3-4 weeks. I have time
Hmm.
for that. Away from my friends. Mm, no.
Okay. And, you know, Lisa, those are all valid concerns. Every client has those specific concerns. And what we find here is that even though inpatient isn't a desired level of care for most clients, they do get a lot out of the experience. And so I would really would like to talk to you a little bit more about what it is that we can provide you for your needs and your level of care. What is some input that you feel that you can contribute that will help us to make a more well-informed decision? Because I know a similar interview and assessment, but I really want to know from you, what is it that's going to help us make an informed decision about what level of care you desire to be on?
Well, I mean, I think that I won't have a problem with like. I think it would be good just to like meet with somebody and talk about it, like at
Mhm.
meetings or something. I'm not sure about the different. You told me about inpatient and outpatient. I don't know how many different or any other options I have, but my use has increased. But I don't think it's the point that I need to be locked up with people that are really bad.
Mhm. Tell me, how much do you feel like you're using weekly?
Mm, I do maybe 4 times a week. About
Four
4 times.
times a
Yeah,
week?
definitely on weekends.
Hmm.
Have you ever tried cocaine?
Well, I personally won't be sharing that information directly with you. I really want you to focus more on some things that we can help you with here. So you was discussing that you use more on weekends. Is that due to the partying or the party culture being more with your friends on the weekends? Tell me a little bit more about that.
Oh, because I know I don't have to wake up in the morning and go to school. So yeah, and usually I'm with some friends and we're out. So usually somebody has something.
Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of hearing that your peers are, it seemed like a very powerful influence on you and whether or not you'll engage in drug use or refrain from drug use. Do you feel like that's safe to say, or would you say not so much?
I'll use by myself. I mean, I don't need my friends. I have some friends that use, and that's probably who I prefer to hang with on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I mean, even if they weren't there, there's been times that I've used. So I wouldn't blame it on my friends.
Of course. I have a question concerning just another peer relationship thing that I'm hearing here. Would you be willing to put boundaries with your friends concerning, substance use? If you were outpatient, for example, you were coming here 3 times a week after school, do you see your ability to be able to put boundaries between your friends and your peers when it comes to concern substance use? Will you be able to refrain from engaging with them?
These have been my friends for past several years. I can't just X them out.
Mm-hmm. I'm not necessarily saying X them out, but can you establish solid boundaries with them? Can you say, I won't be with you when you're using, or if you're using, just let me know and I'll go somewhere else? Can you put those firm boundaries with your friends?
Well, I don't know. I don't. To tell you the truth, I don't even want to stop using. Like I said, I'm here because my parents made me come here.
Hmm. And I understand that, right now the motivation may not be as strong, but one thing I do see as a strength is that you do show up. And showing up is half the battle here. So I do definitely see that as a strength. That's something that you can really work on. towards gaining, some motivation. And they might not be what you see right now, but people come in here and change their minds all the time about their use. There's nothing written in stone that says that you can't change your mind. You can't think differently about your use. This is just to put you in an environment that is safe. That's going to allow you to have those experiences in the therapeutic environment with peers who are positive, with learning coping skills, learning how to manage emotions, learning just new things, and being able to use those skills in the community when you do return home. How do you feel hearing some of that?
I don't know, but are we almost done? Because I don't want to share anymore.
I understand. Actually, I feel like we've gotten a great deal of information in just this little bit of time. We're actually going to be wrapping up here. So before I go ahead and end the interview, I want to go and do a recap of everything. So first, I want to praise you for coming in. I know it's hard when your parents are down your back and you're just like, I really don't want to be here. So I really do want to praise you for being here. So some things that I've heard today is that a lack of trust between you and your parents. And about a year ago is when you started your youth, and it's been slowly but surely increasing into the point where now your parents have found things in your room, and you see that mistrust kind of blowing up into a situation to where now you need to consider treatment options and not really feeling sure if inpatient is the route to go, or if outpatient is going to be beneficial for you. So is that something that you see that's kind of what we've got at the conversation here today?
Yeah, if I have to do this, then I'll be willing to show up for outpatient just to make my parents be quiet.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I told you I'm not ready to stop.
I understand.
Just to keep the peace at home.
I understand. I see your desire to want to keep that peace, and I see that as a strength. And I also see that you're capable of making decisions for yourself, and that's another strength. So there's some things that we can work with here that can make this less of experience, so to say. So with that, before I end the interview, do you have any other questions or anything that you would like to communicate with me concerning anything that we talked about today, or any questions that you may have? Because we're going to be setting you up with a treatment team to help you kind of get all your emotions out and talk about some things that are concerns in your own personal life that you want to work on as well, not just everything about what your parents want for you.
No, I don't have any more questions.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you for coming in today. We have juice and cookies in the break room. You can go in there and wait until your parents come and get you. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
So now we're supposed to flip it?
Yeah, so do you want to talk a little bit about how that was for you?
Yeah, that was I like the way you summed it up. Right? and brought me back when I was asking about it. Yeah, that was good bringing me back. I was going to ask if you liked football.
You were like a really difficult client for a minute. I was like, good Jesus, she's really good at this. You're a good teenager.
There's a lot of, I was a bad teenager, so I can recall like just being defiant. But like the intro, are we supposed to do an intro like for that amount of time? Like
no, I wanted to. It's a little weird for me to when she wants to do the intro, but it's just weird for me because I practice this all the time to not include confidentiality and mandated reporting, and it's like it's unnatural to me. So I already have kind of like a spiel for it. And so I actually included it in all my intros. I didn't last week, and when I didn't do it, I kind of felt bad. So I was like, I'm gonna make sure I put it in there this week. So you don't have to do that. It's just,
okay. Yeah, but I like the encouragement, and I liked the way you summed up myself. It made me feel like you listened because you remember the details throughout the interview.
Yeah, it was hard to forget everything you were saying. You were like, just let me know when you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Hope, and I understand that you're here for some an issue involving substances. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am a CADC, that's a certified alcohol and drug abuse counselor. I've been in practice for about 4 years. I have a master's in addiction studies, and I've been working with adults for the past couple of years in inpatient counseling. And your name is?
I'm Clara.
Clara. Hi, Clara. How are you today?
Frustrated.
Frustrated. You want to tell me a little bit about that?
Drug court has decided that I need, as if the program isn't already hard enough. They want me to come here 3 times a week, and they want me to seek out counseling and get a different job and do all these other things I don't have time for. No one has time for. And I'm really kind of fed up with it. And being here to me is just another waste of time because I could be working with my kids, getting them involved in things, but instead I'm here taking additional time out of my day to make this work when I've already done a hellacious amount of work as it is.
I hear your frustration. Now, let me ask you something. You have to do all these things in order to complete a program. What if you don't complete these things?
Well, then the custody of my kids becomes a problem. I could lose them again for another year, which I've already done. And that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing. And it's the hardest thing.
Oh my gosh.
I've done it before.
Shamika, I have somebody at my door during this interview. I have to get this door. Oh my God.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Okay. Upstairs.
Do you want to start over?
No, let's continue.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So losing your children, you've lost your children before. That's what I've been hearing. And now you have to go through the court system and do all this treatment in order to keep your children. And I also heard that you could be spending this time, instead of being in the program, with your children, taking them to different activities and spending time with them.
Yeah. What is the point of additional treatment when I'm already getting the treatment that I need? What are you going to do that's so different that I haven't received already? This judge is everyone, and I feel like he has a personal vendetta against me. You know, I slipped up one time. I struggled one time, and it's really cost me years of damage. And he just doesn't see the effort. He doesn't see the work. He was at one point suggesting inpatient treatment when I didn't even. There was no clinical justification for me going into inpatient treatment. And I was told no. I was turned down several times by inpatient, and yet he kept insisting. And it took a program coordinator, director woman, to send a note to him saying, there's no way she's going to qualify for inpatient treatment. And he's just such a stickler, and he's so pompous. And I'm just, at this point, I really just want some peace in my life. And I want to be able to feel as if I have some autonomy here, that I get to make some decisions, and that not everything is just happening to me. And this has always been, it's happening to me.
Let me ask you a question. Could you tell me a little bit about the pattern of your usage? How often do you use?
Well, I recently had a relapse, and it wasn't my proudest moment, but it was a relapse. I relapsed on cocaine. It was a horrible day. I haven't done it since. This was like 2 weeks ago before I was permitted to come here. And my PO just happened to drop on me that day. It's dropping. I get called right after I leave work to come and drop. And I had used earlier that day, and I hadn't used before that in a long while. But before that, it was extensive. It was a lot. It was a lot of use. I will admit that I did. I was using very frequently. I was drinking frequently, daily. I was drinking you know, like a whole case of beer in one day. And it was like almost a daily thing. It was every other day sometimes, and I was using coke on the side, just trying to stay up and be there and be a part of all these events for these kids and please my husband and hold down a job and just all these stressors. And I happened to be driving and I blew a significantly high number out. It was embarrassing. And I was taken to jail immediately because they suspected other use. And of course, I dropped dirty. And from there, it's just been a hell of a time just trying to get back on my feet. But I've been doing good. I had one relapse, and one relapse should not equivalent to being brought into additional treatment services. And drug court is already here. I'm there all the time. I go to NA and AA support groups outside of here. I go weekly. I go 2 and 3 times a day. I'm there consistently. I events with them. What more? What more do you need? What more does anyone need from a person than that much commitment? And then making all these stipulations and these parenting classes that I have to go through just so I can keep my kids and keep them stable. I was a damn good parent. I don't need classes. I don't need help with that. I made some mistakes. It was a lot on me. I accept that I did some wrong, but where's the good gonna come? And that's my issue. That is my no, that's my issue, and I'm struggling to see why I'm still in this judge. This judge has such a vendetta. He hates me so much.
You know what I hear? I hear you had some recovery time from your original situation when you blew high and they took you right away, and then you were in recovery, and then you had a slip or a relapse, and now you have to do all these things in order to appease the courts or this judge, and you feel that it's too much. What do you think it would do, or we could do, to help you to make it less likely that you will have a relapse in the future? What do you think is a good program for you?
I mean, it's going to be unrealistic to them, but I would like to see that maybe I come one day out of the week, and for every day that I'm here, I'm consistently pulled and met with by my therapist, my case managers, counselors, whoever, and, just constantly talking about relapse prevention and having most of my goals center around relapse prevention. And just talk a little bit about the stressors and what led to the relapse. That would be better than just dealing with the symptomology and just using. And okay, yes, I use, but talk about why I'm using. Let's talk about the stress. Talk about something else other than just the use, because the use is just the thing. It's all this other stuff that's going on that's a part of it, and the fact that I haven't learned effective coping skills, and I don't know.
Question. Name, when I ask you, when you're saying stressors, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
My kids. Love them to death, but they are a lot of work. Mm-hmm. And it's 3 of them. And, one's a preteen, 2 are teenagers, and they just have a lot of needs. I'm trying to supervise their time at home and be there for meetings with the PTA and do all these things that a mother should be able to do, but it's difficult when you have a full-time job and then you picked up a part-time job, just to try to satisfy these people. But yeah, my kids are definitely the biggest stressor.
Well, isn't that interesting how we can consider them the biggest stressor, but at the same time, they're the most important things in our world?
Yeah. They are.
That's what I'm hearing you say, especially with your concerns with the program taking away from your children. Whereas the program I may be trying to keep you with your children.
And I don't doubt that that's what they're trying to do. I understand I messed up in a major way, but it's almost at this point where it's just punishment. You know, for messing up, everything's just a punishment. You know, what about the things I do well? You know, the fact that I am there for them, the fact that I do, you know, bake the cookies for the little bake sales, and I do show up for parent teacher conferences, and I do supportive things with my kids, and I keep them in school, and they're all dressed nice, and they're doing great. They're making good grades. You know, to say that away from all of that and put more stress is just, what's the point of that? What is the point of that?
And you know, it's like you have this opportunity, and I call it an opportunity because I've seen clients in my past that they don't have the option to do a program. Their children are taken from them right away. So it's you have the opportunity to keep your children, finish the program, and continue with your life, hopefully drug-free. And I am here to help you because I want to see what areas. I hear you need help with coping skills. There's a lot of stresses. You have a job, a husband, 3 children that keep you busy, and you have a history of use to help you cope. But there are other ways that we can help you find ways that are right for you in order to deal with these stressors, so you can eliminate use of drugs, and you don't have to be in this situation anymore. Does that sound like something you're doing?
Yeah, I'm very much interested in it, just so that I can move on with the rest of my life. My goal was not to be as old as I am in a program, just so I can get my life back together. But if this is the route that I have to go, I'm going to do it. I'll do everything just to get the system out of my life, and so I can have time with my kids. That is the most important. That's the most important thing. So if it's this or something else, no matter how frustrating this judge is or how frustrating the courts are, I'll do it. I have no problems doing it. I'm going to complain because I like to do that, as I do what I got to do. But I can do this. I'm just frustrated at the fact that it's a help and a hinder at the same time, and I wish that it was more of a help.
I commend you on your motivation to get through it. I know that it's not easy for you, but we'll do everything we can to help you be successful so you can put this behind you.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you.
Thank you for coming and being here. It was nice meeting you.
It's nice meeting you as well.
Okay, let's cut this. I can't believe my mother came right in the middle of my dog walking up and down the stairs. The dog's walking around. I need to stay in my bedroom when I do this. I apologize.
No, it's fine.
She doesn't hold this against me. I have like 6 animals running around the house. So
I imagine this is. I was seeing a psychiatrist, and she was so awesome. But we did telehealth, and this is kind of what telehealth reminds me of. And she was eating. There was a cat in the background. There's like assistants were like moving, and so I'm looking at the telescreen, and I'm like, but I'm like really distracted about what's going on. I'm like, what are they doing?
I had my TV on. I was like, why didn't you turn off your TV? Oh my gosh. So yeah, this whole thing is new to me. I don't even FaceTime. I don't like it.
Oh, me neither.
And then I have no clue how to send stuff. So I'm glad that you're recording this.
It's a very different experience, but I guess if we ever do telehealth or home electronic voiceover video care, then maybe we'll look a little bit more natural because
maybe I need to do this because this might be something, because you know there's so much electronic technology that we use now, and I might have to use this in my profession in the future. So this might be a good thing, I guess.
Yes. I'm about to stop the broadcast because there's no need for us to continue to talk. Well, you can still talk to me, but I'm going to stop it here.
Okay, yeah.